Most of us know that saving is a good financial idea, and we often save only because we are always told that saving is a good idea. However, unfortunately, only a few of us really understand the benefits of investing to grow our long-term wealth. In this video, I'm going to be comparing saving with investing, what the differences are, and what could be right for you to become more financially powerful in 2023. So I'm just going to assume that you are just like everyone else in the world. You don't know too much about personal finance. You're here because you know saving is good. However, you don't know anything about investing. And to make everything really simple, I'm going to be using the website Money Saving Expert because that is available to everyone, and that is probably the first place you'll go to find out a bit more about personal finance. So we all pretty much know how a bank works. These are financial institutions where you can keep your money, but most of us don't know what is happening with this money. Often we put our money into current accounts. So current accounts are when you log into your online banking. It's the first thing that comes up. It's where it shows your account balance, and most people put their money into the current accounts unaware that there is something called a savings account. Although technically if you put money into a current account, you are still saving money because that money is set aside for a rainy day or whenever you need to purchase something with a higher value. However, at the most basic rate, most people aren't taking full advantage of a savings account. Now, most banks offer saving accounts where you can put in a sum of money or even contribute monthly, and you will earn an interest on your amount for keeping your money in the bank. The way the bank then makes money on that is by lending it to other parties and gaining interest from that. So until recently, most banks have been paying very low interest rates. Now this interest rate is set by the Bank of England, and currently to fight inflation and the rise in costs of our goods, the Bank of England, which is the UK's central bank, has increased interest rates very high, which makes saving a very attractive option for many of us and makes investments at the moment quite unattractive to many beginners. So I'm just on Money Saving Expert now, and in order to save you from a lot of time reading through all this and probably not understanding what you're reading, I'm going to just briefly give you the overview of what you need to know about savings accounts. So essentially you put money into a savings account and that accrues interest. So if you put in £1,000 and the interest rate was 1% annually, then you can expect £10 at the end of that year on top of what you already had. But however, because of the way savings accounts work, because of the way that banks use that money to make investments or lend to other parties, there are big differences between saving accounts themselves. So the first main type of saving accounts that we're going to talk about is easy access savings. And this is probably the most attractive to most people because this allows you to put in money but also withdraw it whenever you want. This gives you the flexibility of not having to worry about putting in your money for a set period of time, and if emergencies do arise, you can take that money without any sort of charge. Now, easy savings accounts, because of the nature of being able to withdraw whenever, do offer a lot less interest, which means you're going to be making less money in the long run. That being said, there are also a few other things that you do need to know that is specific to each provider for easy savings accounts. So on the Money Saving Experts website, we can actually compare the best rates of instant saving accounts. So like I said, historically, these instant saving accounts would have yielded less than 1% interest, but because the Bank of England has increased them, they become very attractive options. And the great thing about savings accounts with any of these saving accounts from banks is the fact that they are as close to as guaranteed that your money will not be lost, that you will definitely get the amount that was initially said for that duration of your savings period. There's a very important word to understand with most of these instant savings accounts is the fact that most of these are variable rates, which means that the rates can go up and down based on the central interest rates from the Bank of England. What often happens is that banks give a headline amount, so for example 3.4%, which is a very high interest amount. However, within the next year they can reduce that all the way down to however much they want, because at the end of the day the banks themselves are in charge of how much interest they give to the customers. Just because the central bank interest rate is high does not mean that the banks themselves have to raise their interest rates, which happens more often than not. So for example, CHIP is a provider that you can sign up to, and they will give 3.4% interest, so calculated annual rate of return. Other things to note is that just because an instant savings account has a high interest doesn't always mean a good thing, because sometimes they will have deposit limits. However, at this point, CHIP Bank allows you to deposit up to £250,000, which is more than most people will ever deposit into an instant savings account, which is really good. You're getting 3.4% interest from CHIP for money up to £250,000. This is guaranteed returns. You're going to get 3.4% at the end of the year, providing that rates don't decrease. So that's one thing to take into consideration. For example, Zupa is also offering 3.21%. However, the max deposit limit is £85,000, which is also more than most people will ever deposit into an instant savings account. account, which is really good. And there are some other banks such as Tandem, Paragon and Coventry which are offering more than 3%. Money Saving Expert is really good because it picks the best banks and they've done their research on that. Most banks will offer higher rates of return, however the deposit amount may be very low. I remember when I was a teenager, Santander used to do 5% interest rate, however you could only put in £2,400 per year, which ultimately isn't much return at all. And of course, if you scroll down, there are lots more banks that you've heard of, for example Sainsbury's, Post Office and Nationwide, instead of maybe Chip, Zupa that you've never heard of. So if you're more willing to try your retail banks that you're familiar with, you can sign up with those. Like I said, always read the small print because sometimes they include top-up fees. Right here, Tandem Bank includes a 0.35% top-up fee. Paragon Bank, for example, allows only maximum of 3 withdrawals, or the rate actually gets slashed to 0.75%. Coventry BS again, maximum 6 withdrawals, or you are charged extras. Even someone like Sainsbury's will only allow a maximum of 3 withdrawals, so not all instant savings accounts are equal. Also, if you want to get good rates from banks like Barclays, you're going to have to sign up to something like a Blue Reward account, which actually does cost a monthly or yearly fee. So instant savings accounts are perfect for people who are saving for the short term and they don't know when they will withdraw the amount, because if they did want to withdraw their money very quickly and they didn't know when, that could succumb to charges on other savings accounts. So the second type of bank account is a hybrid between instant savings account and a fixed term savings account. This is called a notice savings account. So from my research, these accounts are a bit more rarer than instant or fixed rate savings accounts. These accounts work because you give notice before withdrawing certain amounts, giving the bank enough time to essentially manage those funds and give you a different interest rate based on this fact. For example, you can have 90 days notice, 120 days notice, or even 31 days notice. Generally, the larger the notice period, the more interest you're going to get, because if the bank can put the money into more long-term things like riskier assets, they can generate more return that they can pass on to the customer. So compared to instant savings accounts, these accounts will have a bit higher interest rates, although these interest rates don't seem a whole lot more than the instant savings accounts that I've mentioned. However, InvestorTech does give you 3.55%. However, the minimum amount you can deposit is £5,000 and the maximum is very high at £250,000. That does require a notice period of 90 days, so it is not ideal for someone who needs to buy a car ASAP, their boiler broke down, something along those lines. But if you're saving for something more medium term, maybe you're very close to buying a house and you want a house deposit but you know you're not going to need it within the next year or two, that can be a good option. However, looking at the figures quickly, the instant savings accounts offered by Zupa is almost too similar not to go for the instant savings account with the more flexibility, but the choice is going to always be with you. Finally, the most common type of savings account is a fixed term savings account. Like I said, banks do all sorts of stuff with your money, so the longer they can keep your money, the more returns they can give you. So for example, FCMB will give you 4% for 9 months, the minimum deposit being £1,000, the maximum being £85,000. Atom Bank will give you 3.75% for 6 months. These accounts basically mean that your money is put in at the beginning and you have to see it through to the end of the term, whether it's 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, or even more. Trying to withdraw your money early can result in either it being denied or with a hefty penalty. So you can see that the numbers actually do start increasing, 4.31%, as the term starts increasing. So 5-year fixed rates are even more, so SmartSave gives 4.51%. However, they have a minimum deposit of £10,000 and a maximum of £85,000. Investing, however, is very different from savings. The only really similar thing between investing and savings is the fact that they both use the idea of interest rates. However, with investing, that interest rate depends on a multitude of things that are well and truly beyond your control. Unlike savings, investments have an unlimited upside, meaning that the returns that you can get from investments are potentially unlimited. There's also one big difference between investing and savings. Because savings accounts have very small interest rates, and that interest rate can reduce to less than 1% without even a moment's of notice, there is a big difference in the return that you get over a long period of time. Now with investments, there's this thing called compound interests, because historically and on average from the past few decades, a stock market index such as the S&P 500 has historically given around a 9% return every single year. That is a lot more than 1 or 2% that you get on average, as you see over the decades with savings accounts. This means that your money in savings accounts is going to grow quite slowly and quite linearly, so £10, £20, £30 per year. However, with investments, that money starts growing slowly, starts growing linearly. After about 10, 20, 30 years, it grows exponentially, meaning that the interest that you gain year after year compounds compounds, snowballs, and you can be left with millions from regularly investing, and that can be your retirement fund. So the idea of investing is that you put money into companies which then perform better in the future, meaning that you'll get a better value for the stocks that you hold in the future if you decide to sell. Companies also give dividends for holding their stock, meaning that if you hold a bunch of stock in Apple, for example, they'll pay a small amount in cash twice or sometimes 4 times a year. That cash just then adds onto the principal amount, so the amount you have in within the account, and that grows as a function of time, meaning the money that you keep for the long term gets bigger and bigger. So unlike with savings accounts, the money that you put into investments is never guaranteed. You can often lose more than you put in, which stops a lot of people from starting to invest. Every single investment carries risk. There is a potential upside but also a potential downside, and because investing is quite a more manual process of picking where you want to allocate your money, this gives a lot of people a lot of choices, which is often overwhelming. The stock market is very volatile, meaning there are fluctuations within each day, within each month, and within each year, which makes some people very hesitant to start investing because when they retire and they want to pull that amount out, it's not always a regular income. Furthermore, the biggest downfall of investing is the fact that it's very easy to start trying to trade and time the market, which means that you try to select the stocks that do the best. You should know now, no one can predict which company, which stock, which sector will do the best over many decades, and that could often lead to investors losing a lot of their money. In fact, statistically, the overwhelming majority of people who actually try to trade and invest for the short term lose their money. Now, I've got a ton of videos on this YouTube channel explaining what exactly investing is, but for the purposes of this video, we're going to look at Money Saving Expert and see the kind of investment platforms that we can get into and what the differences are between them. So on the website, they actually compare stocks and shares ISAs, and if you're new to investing, you don't need to worry so much about opening a stocks and shares account. However, this is a good overview of the different types of investment platforms that we have within the UK and the kind of differences they have between them. So because investing is more of a manual process, you have to put money into companies that you believe are going to give you better return in the future rather than now. So InvestEngine is a platform that you can actually open, and that acts as a stockbroker. All of these actually are stockbrokers. So that's where you can buy certain funds, you can buy certain companies, you can buy certain indexes which cover many different sectors of many different collections of companies. All of this is explained somewhere around my YouTube channel if you want to get into more detail. So for example, InvestEngine has no costs to buy and sell these funds, which is a pitfall for many of these investment platforms because they charge per transaction when you want to trade stocks and shares. This might seem very small in the beginning, but it can rack up over the years, especially as your portfolio grows into the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even potentially the millions. So InvestEngine is good in terms of costs, but it doesn't allow you to buy individual shares. Instead, it allows you to buy index funds, which are a collection of many different shares, which could potentially be a great way of starting to invest. In order to manage your funds on these apps, there is no actual brick and mortar place that you can go into, and these are now only available online via mobile phone apps or even your browser. Trading 212 is another platform, for example, that this website actually compares. It also has no costs in using the platform, has no costs in buying and trading. Free Trade is another one which has a monthly cost if you want to open your stocks and shares ISA. It also has certain costs relating to foreign exchange fees. So these small fees are very important to understand when dealing with investment companies, because that's often how they make their money, through transaction fees, through foreign exchange fees, and some other pesky fees that get in the way. For example, AJ Bell has many different costs here. So it has a 0.25% cost that charges this amount regardless of what you do in your account, or it can be flexible with a £500 or £25 a month charge. Hargreaves Lansdown, for example, is very expensive at 0.45% a year, or they have other options which is summarized here. Some companies, like I said, do charge per trade. So if you're paying £9.95 per trade, that can often lead to hundreds or even thousands in some cases in terms of fees, which you should really look out for. So beginning to invest is a very daunting process. There's a lot of people saying many different things. There are a lot of people claiming to be making thousands to millions of pounds per year, per month, whatever the case is. However, there are big differences between savings and investment. Savings is a surefire and easy way of getting a guaranteed return on your money. However, the disadvantages are that you're not going to be really earning that much when the risks are low and the guarantees are there. However, investing is very different. It's a very manual process of picking stocks, picking ETFs, or whatever you want. There's a lot of people whispering in your ear, claiming certain companies are better than others. And if you want to bypass all this whispering, you can hire a financial advisor, which will charge you an arm and a leg and most likely will not even beat the market. However, the upside of investing could be that you can earn a lot more on your money, make it go further, and can be your retirement plan. That being said, at this point in time, the investment market, the stock market, is doing really bad. The average rate of return from the past year has been, in some cases, minus 20%, which is something that you're never going to get with a savings account. And because of high interest rates, saving accounts are giving 3% in instant savings account, meaning that if you put your money into a savings account, guaranteed money, that is actually right now of the past year beating the average returns of the stock market. However, that being said, before you make your decision, it is important to understand that some years of the stock market is bad. The years that are bad quickly follows by years that are seriously overpoweringly high in returns, something like 20-30%. So if you want to generate long-term wealth, investing is probably your best friend. But like with everything, you can have a mix and match between savings and investing, and that is probably the best option for most of us. Make sure to check out some of my other videos on investing, and I will see you in the next video.